So I'm with Brandon Ward, the District 2 City Councilor. Always good to have you in the studio here, specifically talking about the renovation project proposed for McGrath Square. It's a busy part of the Saxonville area. For the last however many years, it's been thrown around. You now starting your second term on the City Council, looking to get this over the finish line. How long has this been in the works for you on your end, Brandon, ever since you joined the City Council a couple of years ago?
Yeah, so this project really predates me. So if you talk to longtime residents of Saxonville or members of Friends of Saxonville, this has been discussed since 2015. So 10 years, over 10 years now.
And for people who may not be aware of it, obviously they may know the area, they may know the traffic concerns, the congestion in the area, but if they don't know what's being proposed, what's the elevator pitch for it?
Yeah. So McGrath Square, which is not a frequently used name unless you're like you talk about this stuff a lot, is the intersection of Concord, Elm, Central, and kind of Danforth Street there. So right in front of the mill and Saxonville Burrito. This project specifically expands a little further than that. It goes up Elm Street a little bit. It goes west on Central to the intersection with Water, and then it heads south down Concord Street all the way to the floodgate bridges right before the gas station. And so the project, which has been discussed for the last 10 years, is to redo all that, not only new streets and new lights, but also new sidewalks, crosswalks, make it a much more pedestrian friendly central business area, because there's a lot of great small businesses there that we want to support and ensure people are safe traveling through there. So yeah, that's the kind of the quick pitch.
Now, the most recent development of this is that there was a community meeting held with the owner of Saxonville Mills, Charlotte Maynard. Spoke with some residents who may have had some questions and answers, because specifically one of the pieces of this is the acquisition and the eventual demolition of 1639 Concord, which is right on the corner of Danforth and Concord, for people who may not be aware. How will that demolished area ultimately be used within the project, so people get an idea?
Yeah, so first I'll say there's still a number of steps that need to take place for the city to be able to incorporate that into the project, and I'll talk about that a little bit right now. But long story short, the project that's been in the works for the last 10 years was in many ways just a redo of the current configuration. So yes, it would have been new sidewalks, new crosswalks, new lights, and a lot of, I think, improvement in terms of the efficiency of the intersection, but ultimately it was still the same intersection layout. Now, Charlotte Maynard, who, for people who don't know, is the owner of the mills and has a really large, professional, personal, commercial interest in the success and the walkability of that intersection, brought an idea to the city about potentially realigning the intersection so that Danforth Street, which is one of the most dangerous parts of that intersection, people turning right onto Concord and then having to immediately try to turn left onto Danforth Street. What if that better aligned with Central and created more of a T intersection? And so she brought that idea to the city. I think the city and the mayor and myself included are really interested in that idea. And she proceeded to work with the homeowner there to purchase that property, and is now planning to demolish it and then engage in negotiation with the city on incorporating that parcel into the project. And just as I was kind of alluding to, this would allow the Danforth Street action to be the Danforth Street entrance to be moved further north into the intersection. It would allow for cars that wanted to go on Danforth Street to do it from the left lane coming off of Central Street as opposed to the right lane. The right lane would be dedicated strictly to cars turning right and traveling south down Concord Street. So I think there's a lot of real potential benefits if we can, cross all of our T's, dot our I's, and acquire the property from Charlotte now.
A lot of moving parts to it, but at this point in time, are you aware of any progress being made on the city side to acquire that parcel? So
I know the mayor and the administration have been in preliminary discussions with Charlotte around negotiating a sale price or some type of parcel swap for the property. And I know the reason that she's proceeding with the demolition, one, the property itself is in need. The building itself doesn't have any real value for reuse, and would need to be demolished no matter what was done with the property. But I know one of the reasons she's trying to fast track that is so that the DPW and the DPW's hired engineers can get in there and do a real survey to make sure the layout that's being proposed is feasible, and to have a better data points around like what we're actually presenting to the community in terms of what this project would look like.
Right. Any idea of what the price of 1639 would be at this point?
That's a great question. So I honestly, I should go back and look and see what Charlotte paid. I think she paid somewhere in the $500,000 to $600,000 range for the property. I would have to double check that. But I would assume it's somewhere around there, maybe a little bit more because of the demolition work. And so I know Charlotte has expressed interest. The city owns a couple of different parcels on down behind the mill. One used to be an old pump station. She's also expressed interest in potentially a long-term lease of the old Saxonville fire station. The city, as far as I'm aware, I personally have agreed to nothing. So it's kind of all up for debate and discussion, and the public will hopefully weigh in and share, kind of what their preferences and or if they have any concerns, what those are.
So dollars for this project as a whole at this stage, at least in the preliminary sense, are there dollars in the FY27 budget to go forward with this?
So no budget has been approved,
Right,
but
at this
but
point,
during the recent campaign, the mayor had promised to put McGrath Square in the fiscal year 27 capital budget, and in the capital budget that was presented to the city council or given to the city council, this project was included, and so I'm was very excited to see that, and looking forward to that remaining that way, so that we can. I think it's about $12.5 million.
I was going to ask how much would have been included
in the capital fiscal year 27 capital budget for this project. That dollar amount is way higher than it was 1 year, 2 years, 5 years ago, and so I hope we don't kick this can any further down the road. I know I will be advocating strongly against that. Because the price of the project is only going up. So
right now, part of why we invited you in here today is because I wasn't able to make it to that Q&A.
Yes.
We were busy developing the show, of course. But you mentioned that you were there and some community members as well. From what you heard, what were some of the questions, comments, perhaps concerns, thoughts that people within the Saxonville area had in regards to either specifically acquiring that 1639 parcel or the renovation project as a whole?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. So I think there was a great little turnout. I think 25 people at this Q&A that Charlotte was holding, and I think the questions really were, covered a lot of ground. So I think there were questions around what would the actual demolition look like? What are the potential impacts on neighboring businesses, on residents that live on Danforth Street? How long would that take? What would the property look like after the demolition has taken place? Because it's not like the city is immediately acquiring the property and or immediately starting the McGrath Square project. So what's it going to look like in the interim? The quick answer is it's just going to be a flat piece of land with as many trees left behind as they're able to. So hopefully it won't be an eyesore, but nothing there in the short term. There were questions around the new proposed plan, what it would look like. There were questions around whether the city was buying it or whether they were swapping other parcels, which once again, still up in the air, still to be decided. And I'm trying to think if there are any other kind of like key questions I'm missing. Yeah, I think people are, it's such an important intersection. It's such a highly used intersection for people on the north side of Framingham. So people want to make sure that the project gets done right and that the city is spending taxpayer money wisely.
Right. Still a long way to go until you get to the completion of that project. Properties have to change hands, things have to be approved, this, that, the other. But based off your best estimation right now, or based on what you have heard, is there any sort of target for perhaps a estimated time of completion for this project, if everything goes forward the way it's planned? Yeah,
so this is like, in a dream world, I think Charlotte gets approval. There were a number of questions around the historical nature of the building as well. Mm-hmm. So I know Charlotte is going before the Historic Commission or the Historical Commission to get approval to demo the building. But assuming all those permits and approvals from them and from the building department come in the next month or two, hopefully it's demolished in the next month or two. That allows the city to get our engineers in there to do the high-level survey work and to move forward with a formal design that can be presented to residents and District 2 stakeholders, hopefully in spring, so that then this project is, as discussed earlier, included in the fiscal year 27 capital budget, we can, fiscal year 27 capital budget probably means construction starts in 2027, not 2026, but yeah, if we started construction in 2027, I think that would be, I'd be really excited to see that.
Great. Any other points about this that we weren't able to touch upon?
No, I also just maybe reinforce like how important of a project this is. It supports local small businesses. It makes Saxonville more walkable. It makes it safer for, there's a bunch of schools in that neighborhood. We have kids coming from the high school. We have kids coming from Stapleton, Cameron. Safe crosswalks, safe lights. It's a really valuable project.